What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 BBC shows of all time. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, to my understanding, is a very, very popular British television network, has a lot of popular, famous British TV shows. I know they also do media and news, and they do radio. Actually, I know the BBC is the oldest and biggest national broadcaster in history, in world history. Between you and me, I did not know any of that off the top of my head. I had to look that up beforehand. I can't take credit for that. But what I can take credit for is that today I am going to learn and appreciate these top 10 BBC shows that I guarantee you I have probably hardly ever heard of any of these, probably not heard of most of these or ever seen them. I know they are all throughout the BBC's history. I'm not exactly sure about the criteria they're going to use to rank them in this list, but I am really excited to find out and just to see all these different British TV shows that are very, very, very popular, well-known in Britain that I've never experienced before. So, with that being said, let's take a look.
For this list, we've looked at all BBC shows. There are no criteria limitations in terms of genre or era. As long as the show is on BBC and not ITV or any other British TV channel, then it's in contention.
Okay. What is this? This is just a taste of what's to come, huh? This is just a taste. British TV, man. British comedy in particular. I don't know if these are all comedies coming up, but it's really in a class of its own. Okay.
Number 10, Fawlty Towers.
Fawlty Towers. Well, I can go ahead and say that I have never heard of this show ever in my life. It's spelled F-A-W-L-T-Y. Fawlty? Never heard of this. I recognize that actor, though. The guy on the left. Let's hear what this is about.
I don't believe it. Neither do I. Perhaps it's a dream.
All right.
It's not a dream, we're stuck with it, right?
A show that spans just 2 series, one in 1975 and one in 1979. There were but 12 episodes of Fawlty Towers ever made.
12 episodes total? And this is like very well known, very highly regarded. It must be insane. I mean, I can tell it's a comedy. Very British, very silly. I like it just from the snippets I'm getting here, but gosh, 12 episodes. That's crazy. Is this like beloved and people like, did they just leave you wanting more in a good way, maybe? 12 episodes?
But those 12 episodes helped shape modern-day comedy, and especially sitcom writing.
I'm not nervous. I'm just saying take it easy, all right? All of us, just take it easy, right? Nothing's got easy. I'm just saying take it... I mean, can't I say take it easy without starting a panic? I mean, what is going on here?
The show centers on Basil Fawlty, played by John Cleese, the erratic owner of the eponymous hotel.
What a dump.
Set upon the English Riviera and...
It's so funny, because a lot of the greatest comedies ever... even in America, some of the older ones like this have to do with just people. The plot is very simple. Like, this is a hotel owner?
Erratic owner of the eponymous hotel.
Yes, he's a hotel owner. And it's just like about his interactions like throughout his daily life and how silly and crazy he is as a character. And sometimes those kind of loose, kind of grounded plots, you could say, set up for some of the best comedies ever. I guess I'm thinking about Seinfeld and stuff like that.
What a dump.
Set upon the English Riviera and Torquay, Basil is joined by Sybil, his wife, Polly, the chambermaid, and Manuel, the Spanish waiter.
Okay.
Oh, no, please. No.
Yes, it's very... You also don't see this too much anymore. Like, really, really well done physical comedy. as well as just like funny dialogue and stuff. I like I like this, like a throwback for me.
If it all sounds like the components of a really good joke, that's because it is.
Right.
Hey, watch! Who's this then? Start you, but no! I'll do enough anymore! You can't!
You also get a lot of these kinds of jokes that they probably, being frankly honest, they probably would not even dare to do these kind of jokes anymore, huh?
Number 9, the Graham.
Okay, so wow. That one I had never heard of. This one, man, these really are from like all different eras, huh? The Graham Norton Show. I've heard of this. You know, this is like fairly well known in the United States, or at least a lot of Graham Norton clips pop up on my YouTube, like recommendations, every so often. Like, America has plenty of talk show hosts, and I'm guessing Graham Norton is the biggest, if not one of the biggest, in Britain. I think his show's format is fascinating and very interesting, like has multiple celebrities on a couch, like all at once, having a conversation. And he is, I've never even watched a full episode of the show, to be honest, but I've seen clips. He is very talented at coming across as very down to earth. Like, right here, he's sitting in the audience, actually, which is funny, but very down to earth, very normal, for lack of a better word. Funny, normal guy, makes you feel really comfortable. I really admire that about him.
Graham Norton Show.
Let's start the show! Yeah!
A multi-award-winning chat show, Graham Norton never fails to get big names to appear on his sofa.
Yeah, it's amazing how he gets the most famous people imaginable, and not just one. There's like it'll be Will Smith there, and then like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, like all at once. It's like, what? Wow. And that's interesting because you never really get to see a talk show where you get to look into seeing the relationship between different famous people and famous actors and actually have them talk to each other. That's pretty cool.
And he never fails to get them doing ridiculous things in the name of entertainment.
All right.
It wasn't the person standing next to me in the veil. It was the person standing opposite me in the rain.
Is it still raining?
I actually didn't know he did like little funny sketch comedies or games or anything. I've just seen like funny clips, but I like this a lot. I like Graham Norton, even the little amount I've seen him.
Norton himself rose to fame on the UK's Channel 4, but moved over to the BBC in 2005.
Okay.
Now, the premise, if I'm being honest, before I went to see it, premise sounded a little dry.
And
2005, gosh, he's been doing this for like 18 years now.
the Graham Norton Show itself began life on BBC Two before knocking Jonathan Ross out of BBC One's prestigious Friday night slot in 2010.
Wow.
The rest is hilarious A-list history.
Yeah, is he... I don't have any idea how popular he is in Britain. I don't really have a reference. Is he like the #1 talk show host in Britain?
Number 8, The Office.
Oh, wow. Okay. I know a couple of these for sure are going to be shows that I don't know, but come on. We've all heard of The Office. America has dared to have the audacity to do a remake of The Office that we also have the audacity to really, really, really love here in America. I have seen the American Office. Don't hate me, but I've never really seen the British The Office. But I know it's like, I know it's very pure in its British humor and like sticks to the premise of like people living their lives in an office and the awkwardness and monotony and absurdity of that. It sticks to that like very, very faithfully and super well done.
Gareth, look at the face.
Oh, I can't believe you're touching that.
Why?
Look at this. You don't know where that's been, mate.
Well, I do know where it's been in a box, Gareth.
No, but I mean at the factory. You don't know what
The
goes on.
factory. You've got your amazing mind.
I've actually seen that actor on the right. I think he was in Pirates of the Caribbean. I had no idea he was first in The Office.
And again.
In large part, we have the BBC to thank for Ricky Gervais in general. Extras is probably considered one of the channel's greatest ever comedies.
Yeah, and who am I?
Oh, is this what Ricky Gervais did before The Office? I did not know about this. Extras or any of that.
So the Starsky Hutch, I can never remember. Was that supposed to be funny? You tell me you were in it.
But it's just overshadowed on today's countdown by Gervais' first major outing, The Office.
Yeah. I didn't know this was on the BBC. I feel like, how is this not number one? Wait. Are these like in any particular order? Because I feel like this almost has to be number one. This is so famous.
On the high love highway and going home cause my baby's gone. She's dead. She's not dead.
Who'd have thought that the dull daily lives of employees at a Slough-based paper company would make for era-defining comedy?
No, sorry, it's...
Right, there is something about putting people in normal, everyday situations that makes for great comedy. And I could absolutely see how it translates to amazing British comedy, because that British comedy is already kind of self-reflective and self-deprecating and ironic. And all those sorts of funny observational humor as well, and situational awkward humor. Like, this is just perfect.
Totally gone.
Don't worry about it.
I'm holding your folder. Sorry.
It's fine.
No, it's gone.
The Office takes a look at the tiny trivialities, details, and desperations of human behavior.
Right.
It blows them up into a show that can have you laughing, cringing, and crying all at the same time.
What have we learned from this?
Not to leave your dildo lying around.
Don't let it out of your sight because it can wind up anywhere. And it's... Oh, what's that?
Number 7, Yes, Minister.
Okay, Yes, Minister. I have never heard of this one before. This one looks like a little bit of an older show again. 1980s. Yes, Minister. I couldn't even guess what this is about. Is it a comedy as well? These have like all been comedies so far, huh?
Now, what are your views on the integrated national transport policy?
Yes, Minister takes us behind the scenes at the British government. Said to be the favorite TV program of the then actual Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
That's hilarious. What the British government turned into a comedy show. That is so smart. Okay.
It follows the eternal struggles of MP Jim Hacker, an aspiring politician who works as Minister of Administrative Affairs.
Fortunately, Bernard, most of our journalists are so incompetent they'd have the gravest difficulty in finding out that today is Wednesday.
It's actually Thursday.
I love this premise. Oh my gosh. Yes, Minister. This is... Man, the United States should have a comedy that has to do with our government, because there's so much absurdity and comedy in politics a lot of the time. I don't know. I wonder if Americans could handle that, or if we're too serious or too prideful with how we look at our own government and stuff. But I love poking fun, this kind of angle of an MP and like an incompetent MP, perhaps. This story is starting to make sense.
Episodes revolve around hackers proposing legislation before having it beaten down, or else hackers' desperate attempts to blockade another's ideas.
Couldn't you have made it look as though you were going to do something and then done nothing? Like you usually do.
It's in-house squabbling at its best.
Yes.
And it absolutely gets our vote.
There's no doubt in my mind that this committee is on to something.
Number 6, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Monty Python. Oh, man. Again. Man, these really are the top of the BBC shows, because that's the only possible way they would be famous enough for me, all the way in America, to have at least heard some of these names. I was thinking I wouldn't have even heard of any of these shows. But I have heard of Monty Python's Flying Circus. For the longest time, I thought Monty Python was just a movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Apparently, it's a whole TV show that I am seeing ran for 5 years that I had no clue about. This definitely deserves to be on the list, though. This is like one of the most famous comedies ever, period.
People on television treat the general public like idiots. Well, we are idiots. No, we are not. Well, I am. How do you know you're an idiot? Oh, I can show you. How? Look.
Perhaps the most pioneering British comedy show ever made, Monty Python's Flying Circus was originally broadcast between 1969 and 1974.
It's with these two happy-go-lucky rogues that our story begins.
Oh my gosh, like almost like 50 years ago. Yeah, like they said the 60s? Oh my gosh, and it's amazing how well the comedy all holds up, even being coming up on over 50 years old. Wow.
For it is they who were run over by Alex Diamond, international crime fighter and playboy.
Its blend of observational gags, innuendo, and surreal sketches was unlike anything else before it.
Okay, so is that I didn't know anything about that part of the historical aspect of Monty Python. I've heard that name, that is such a famous name in the United States, Monty Python, but so many Americans who have heard of it, like me, are like me in the sense that we haven't ever seen it, to be honest. But this is fantastic, and apparently it deserves to be on this list and deserves to be famous because it pioneered a lot of the comedy, a lot of the style of comedy that it kind of made popular.
And anything similar since is often described as Python-esque.
Bernard, wake up!
Yep. Python-esque.
Now that's what I call a dead parrot.
So good, it inspired its own adjective. Flying Circus was its very own variety show. A philosophical, intellectual, satirical stab at everyone's sense of humor. The Spanish Inquisition wasn't expected, but Python's place on this list must have been.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. In fact, those who do
Our chief weapons are...
Our chief weapons are...
Surprise.
Surprise.
That's it. Stop there, stop there.
And I love that it's almost their goal to cover every conceivable topic that could have comedy possibly injected into it. This is fantastic.
Number 5.
Okay. Let me see here. Number 5. How many have we gotten through? Oh, yeah, we're about halfway done. So I think I'm gonna stop it here. This is going on for quite a while in the best way possible. And I don't want to rush any of this. We're about halfway through at number 5. So I'm gonna stop and continue and finish this series in part 2. So if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in part 2 of this, or just more videos in general of me reacting to British culture and stuff in Britain I've never seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.